Hello. Before we begin the video, let's discuss CloudFoundation. CloudFoundation is the premier online training platform to help individuals and organizations gain knowledge and skills in the ever-growing cloud computing industry. In this tutorial video, we will discuss about AEM. Adobe Experience Manager, AEM, is a content management system for creating websites, mobile applications, forms, and communities that enable businesses provide engaging consumer experiences. It provides strong capabilities for managing all assets, including content, digital assets, marketing campaigns, and so on, through a single interface. It also allows organizations to easily expand and deploy apps, as well as customize consumer experiences. The topics covered in this video are: Introduction to AEM, CMS. Product navigation. Creating a user and new project. Content fragments in AEM. OSGI configuration settings. Overview on workflow. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel and check out other videos related to the latest technologies on our CloudFoundation channel. Contact us at India, USA, UK. sales@cloudfoundation.com. Let's get started.
So let's start with today. Let's start with a brief introduction about AEM, and before that about CMS, what is CMS, and then we will proceed further about more into AEM. So let me firstly discuss about CMS. What is CMS? Okay. So CMS is a content management system. CMS, content management system. So CMS, like what CMS does, any tool which is built, which is built or which is a CMS, what it does. So those are content management system, and they manages the content of the website. Okay, so as by the name CMS, content management system, so they manages the content of the website. Now, when we say that they manages the content of the website, by content we mean the images or the videos or the documents, PDFs, or any other documents or different type of files, images, files. All those things comes under content. So, see, when I talk about CMS, it's content management system which manages the content of your website. So mainly, when we say content, it means the images, the PDFs, or any sort of digital assets you have, all these things, any documents, any SVGs, PNG, JPG, all these type of files are considered, or are we take it as our content of the website. So the website which are highly rich in content, which have a lot of content on them, they are best suited to be built using CMS. Like if I open any e-commerce website, e-commerce is a general example, but if I take a banking site example, let me open a banking site like ICICI. Okay, so if I open the ICICI Bank, see, ICICI Bank, firstly, here you will see these are all simply brochureware pages, like till the time we don't log in. So here when we click on login, you will see it takes you to an altogether different URL. Okay, but before that, it was ICICIbank.com, and these are all static pages. Static pages, you can call it as brochureware pages, which just gives you information. Okay, these are the different credit card available, and but all the facilities that are available on those cards. Because if I scroll down, you will see a lot of calculations like this. Some bit of calculation that, okay, if you're interested in card, then and how much discount or net annual lakh your income should be, then only you can go for that card. And all this information, like you will see, it's highly, even this banking website is also highly content rich. You'll see there are a lot of images here. You can see there are a lot of images. Plus, of course, there would be a lot of PDFs as well, because there would be a lot of like information yeah, means those will also be there on this ICICI Bank website. And also, if we scroll, if we go over any other page, so here also we will see that. Okay, you can see here, you can see so much content is there. So when I say content, it's you can see this is all together image, whole image. Then if we scroll down, this is also background color plus some image plus some text plus some buttons, a lot of things. Okay, so these sites, all these type of sites are which are highly rich in content are best suited to be built using AEM. Okay, I'm not saying here ICICI Bank website would be built using AEM, but here you can see there is a lot of content on this website. So of course, AEM or any other CMS would be best suited to build this. So now, if you click on login, here you will see we logged in. We logged in and we redirected to a different site. And the time you will input your user ID or information. So there you will go to the actual net banking portal of ICICI Bank. So see, when you log in, you will see that there are like there it that is highly transactional website because there you will see all your figures, amounting, all the other banking thing. So all the highly transactional website or like which have a lot of not static content, which are not brochure where you can say, okay, all the public content, but public content which is highly content rich. See, in case if a website which is public content, but that is just simple giving you some basic information, some declarations and something which is not highly content rich. Why would you spend so much money in buying a CMS and spending on just a simple site which doesn't have so much content in it? Okay. So here, see here we have this. If we have this ICICI Bank website, so here there are a lot of content. There are a lot of figures. Here you will see that okay, there are a lot of figures as well. Okay, like if the annual income is this much, like consider now if this image calculate or this text has to be changed, or consider this image has to be changed. There are like tomorrow some new card or some new offer came and the older offer is no longer available. So they wanted to remove that offer and bring the new image for that new offer or the new banner for that new offer. So CMS tool helps you in updating, not only managing the content of the website, but also updating the content of the website on fly. When I say on fly, it means that it's not the developer now. It doesn't become the developer job to change the content on that website. The website owner, you can say either the website owner or I can say the authors or the content managers. I will use these three terms. Like okay, like now if they wanted to change this image to something different, the banner. So it's not that they have to go to the engineers, the developers, and they ask them that okay, you change, and then the developers will make the change in their code, and then the code will be pushed to dev QA and then prod. A proper testing would be conducted, and a whole month time would be taken, or at least a week or 2 weeks would be taken to take just a simple change like. With CMS, the content of your website can be changed on fly and can be made available to the end user immediately. Okay. So this is CMS, content management system. Now, see when I say content, it's all like here, even this image and also the text that is over here, that is also part of content because when we start using CMS, any CMS, then even the content, even the text that we have on the website, that can also be changed on the fly. It's just that how the developers has designed the components and has made the authoring available to the content authors and what all they can change, what all things they can change, the content authors can change on the website or on that or for that component. Okay. So all these things, any content you have on the website, you can change. So this is a bit on CMS, content management system. Now, where does AEM comes into picture? So AEM is a CMS, but it's an enterprise level CMS. So AEM is a CMS, but it's an enterprise level CMS. So let me just use some more. Mhm. Yes. So AEM is CMS plus it's an enterprise level. Okay. So why do we call it as an enterprise level CMS? Because it provides many other features to completely build and deliver a website end to end. So it provides all the solution for building a CM or an content rich website. So when we say building, then of course through CMS you will manage the content, but AEM in itself can host the complete website as well. So like consider, see, if you have a website, you have to deploy that website on a server to make it work. So what basically you use is you buy some space. Firstly, you buy some space like hard disk. Either you use some cloud space or your local company space. Like you have a CPU and there you would further install the softwares, install everything. Okay, let's consider you go on cloud and use the AWS. So on AWS, you buy some space and there you plan that, okay, I will deploy all my softwares and things over there. Now you buy AWS space, then you install all your softwares. Now you want your website to work. For your website to work, of course, you need a server. Either you can use Apache Tomcat or some application server like JBoss or some Oracle server. Okay, some server you need to have onto which your website can run. So here, this server thing would not be needed because AEM in itself contains a web server and can host your complete website. So here, if you plan that, okay, let's go on AWS and have our AEM running on top of it. So on AWS, you will install the prerequisite software. I will tell you what are those. And plus, there you will install AEM and that's it. So on AEM itself will provide you with the server which will host the complete website, and you don't need any other separate web server or application server to host your website. Okay, so AEM in itself will host your website. Plus, when I say AEM is an enterprise level, it means you can easily integrate it. You can easily integrate with other Adobe uh, tools, which is Target, Launch, which is other like campaigns. Okay, and then we have analytics and many more, many more. So you can directly integrate it and integration is directly provided. So that is why it enables you to build your complete end-to-end website. See, if you are building a website, of course you would need analytics. Of course you would need like some may need campaign if they wanted to run it. Some website may need target where they want different content to be displayed to different user on the basis of the different segmentation of users. So like a different segment of user, a different age group of user should see a different content on the same page of the website, but a different segment of users should see, or different age group of users should see different. Okay. So that all is achieved using target. So Adobe AEM helps in easy integration with other Adobe tools and provides you with an end-to-end solution for building the website. So that is why it is a complete enterprise level solution. See, you can integrate it with Salesforce. Even it provides you plugin to integrate with some of the other tools. Like if you know, there is a Solar tool which helps you in searching. So there is a Solar which helps in creating indexes and performing searching. So AEM in itself provide the searching feature where you can perform the search, make indexes and all. But there is an external tool as well, which is Solar. See, with AEM, we have to do the collection on AEM that okay, these are the events that have been fired. Okay, like if someone clicks a button or someone clicks on a link, then this is a journey of that user. So all these events has to be collected, and then further, what is done through Adobe is that those events are pushed to Adobe Analytics. So Adobe Analytics in itself is just a portal which shows you the behavior of the user. Okay, it will show you it in a proper way that okay, this is the behavior of the user, how it has gone, what all things the user has done for during his entire journey and all. But the tool that actually captures is Adobe Launch. So Adobe Launch captures all the events and then it populates or pushes to Adobe Analytics. So here AEM says that it's not that you can only use Launch for capturing, but you can use other tools. So I tell you one tool which is Insighten. Okay, Insighten is one tool which performs the same activities as Launch. It also collects all the events that the user will perform, his journey, and it not only pushes the the journey or all those events to Adobe Analytics, but it pushes to multiple other tools that you can configure, like Google Analytics or any other tool as well, which you can configure in that Insighten. So here we are tracking the events. We are itself, like what we do is we add our JS scripts and we add our JS classes to different buttons where we want to keep the tracking. And through those events that get hit, you will get to know that okay, these are the events that have been triggered and the user journey has been this way. So either the launch or Insighten, whatever tool that you make the use of, so that those events will be captured and further it will be populated to the other tool. That populating logic is there within the launch. Analytics is just a portal which shows you whatever is the journey, it shows you in a graphical way and all those things. It helps you create dashboard that okay, if you wanted to know the journey for a particular flow, so you can create different dashboards and all on at analytics now. See what happens is with Adobe Target within AEM itself also some of the targeting features are available, which are very much limited. So you have very limited feature. If you want some limited features of target and you wanted to use that on your website, you can do it within the AEM only. But if you want to use like a complete end-to-end solution from Target, then you have to buy the Target license or Target product from Adobe. And then you can easily integrate your AEM with Target and all the segmentation of user. Even you can do integration of AEM to Target. So any content that you will create inside AEM, you can push it to Target, and then you can further inside Adobe Target, you can say that okay, this content should be displayed to this segment of user, and this content should be displayed to this segment of user. All that thing you can. Like if you have heard experience fragments, so what we do is we export our experience fragments from AEM to Target, even the pages also, but mostly experience fragment, and those experience fragments content become available in Target, and then we do further segmentation that okay, this is the segmentation, this is the user category, or on the basis of their age group, or on the basis of their country code, like locale. So all those things we if there is a login functionality, then on the basis of login details, on the basis of that, we segregate or segment the users and then display different content. Consider that there is a event that we have configured in AEM, and whenever we click on this link, that event should get fired and launch will pick up that event. So here on that link, so on that link, we will add that class. If there is any event that we want to capture over here, that if someone clicks on this button, then our launch should capture the event. Then we should add our class over here. Then a class would be added over here, and when we click over here, then the event would be captured at the Adobe launcher. See, launch again, launch, what it says is, it will give you that, okay, this is a script that you have to load on your page load. Is JavaScript should be loaded. I'm just taking as an example. Okay. So, and JavaScript should be loaded, and these classes should be added on the button where you want to keep your tracking enabled. Okay. So these are the things, or maybe some configuration is what Adobe launch says that you have to do. Like, okay, this is the JS, this is some third-party JS also that you have to load. So you will do some configuration to load that. Okay. Plus, there may be a scenario that, okay, this is the JS for lower environment, this is the JS for production, because of course, you do not want the same JS or the same like JS to be triggered for both lower and production, because otherwise the same event would be like, even if we are working on lower, then also the same event would be captured by launch, and it would assume that, okay, these are coming from prod. So these configuration, a bit of configuration needs to be done, where we will check that, okay, if it's a QA, then load this JS. If it's prod, then load this, and plus the classes that launch says that, okay, these are the classes that you need to load. So those classes we will place in wherever, whichever journey we want to track. So on the basis of journey also, we configure, we do some configuration things at launch, and where we say that, okay, this is the journey that we want to configure, then classes would be come out, and we will place those classes on our buttons, and then launch will further do its processing. It will capture all that journey, and will push that thing to Adobe Analytics. So here, from AEM architectural perspective, launch does not come anywhere in the picture. So when we talk about AEM architecture, we say what all technologies. The AEM in itself is a closed tool. It's not an open source tool. You have to buy license for that. But within itself, the technologies that make the user, those are all open source. Okay, so we will discuss about those technologies and altogether AEM, but launch is another tool, altogether another tool. So it's also that you can easily integrate with AEM, but you can also integrate launch at Adobe Analytics with other Adobe, with other CMS tools or any other tools as well. Okay. So it's just that it has AEM has provided the configurations already there. You just have to input the endpoints and all, and do some authentication, a small authentication. So it becomes easier because the things are already there, set up on AEM. So that's why it becomes easier. But you can even integrate Target or Launch and all these things with other tools as well, or with your Java application as well. That also you can. Okay. Okay. So we discussed about this, our CMS. Let's go into discussing about more into AEM. Okay. So we discussed why it is and this. Let's now discuss AEM, which is Adobe Experience Manager. Okay. So let me just tell you a bit about the history of AEM. So earlier we used to have, Days was a component, CQ was a product. Okay. And it has its version 5.4, 5.6, and all those versions. Like it keep on releasing the newer versions, and that's how it used to work. So CQ was the product. Later on, Adobe acquired this and named it as AEM, which is Adobe Experience Manager. And then Adobe started releasing the version AEM 6.0, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4. We have the 6.4, and the recent being the 6.5. And now Adobe is not releasing any other version after 6.5. It's all cloud, Adobe Cloud. I will tell you about Adobe Cloud, but let's firstly cover these things. Okay. And why exactly is the need of this Adobe Cloud? Why there is no 6.6? Okay. So what happened? Like Adobe, when Adobe acquired, they even followed the same process as Days company was following with the CQ. So they keep on releasing the newer versions, but it's not that you can directly upgrade your AEM by just sitting and just clicking a button. You have to follow a whole long process of upgrading one instance to another. Like if you are working on 6.3 and you have to update to 6.4, or it's not that from 6.3 you have to upgrade to 6.4 to go into 6.5. You can directly upgrade from one version to another version. It's just that you have to make things compatible. So if you are upgrading from 6.3 to 6.4, there would be less things which you would need to make things where you would need to make your code compatible. But if you will directly be doing it, then your work will increase, or your task for migration from one version of AEM to another will increase, because there may be a lot of changes from 6.4 to 6.5 as well. So firstly, you have to see what all changes to make all the things compatible from 6.3 to 6.5. So your tasks or your things will be will be more as compared to if you, but of course it is possible that you can move from one version to directly a different version, and it's not that you have to jump one step at a time. Okay. So this like what okay, before this, just one thing. Like once you buy to Adobe and you wanted to get a license for AEM, it's not that okay. So what they do is Adobe will provide you with a jar and with a license file. The jar and license file are the two things which Adobe will provide you. One is the jar plus the license file. These are the two things which Adobe will provide you, and you will start working. So this license file is important. Don't share it with anyone. Jar, of course, everyone has. The jar even you can download, or anyone can give you, any AEM guys can give you. They won't uh, deny from giving it to you, but of course they won't give you the license because license is specific to a particular company or a particular person. Okay. Now, when you have to set up a jar and license, so again, if I go to the AWS example, so you will buy space on AWS. There, for AEM to work upon, I'm talking about the prerequisite of start using AEM, and then I will go into this thing. So for the prerequisite of AEM, the tools that you need are, of course, some space. Either it can be AWS or it can be your company, some company inbuilt server. Okay. Some companies in-house server. Okay, or some cloud like AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, any such thing. Okay. There on this page, you will firstly install Java, then plus Maven, and I will tell you what Maven, and then of course, there then you are good to go ahead with setting up your AEM. Okay, so you need to have Java, you need to have Maven, and then of course you are good to have your AEM up and running. Okay, so for AEM, what you basically do is we get the license in the jar file. So these are the two things that you would need. Java and Maven, these are the two only things that you would need. So Java, of course, everything in AEM from backend perspective is written in Java only. So like all the backend thing that we write are in Java. So you need to have Java up and working for AEM to work. Even if you don't have Maven, then also at least AEM server will start up and will you can, like here you can see I have my AEM server up and running here. You can see. So I let me just log out. Let me just sign out. So firstly, your AEM to work to start working, you need to have Java. So have your Java up and running and there in your environment variables. Okay, once you have your Java up and running, then Maven. So for AEM to run, you need Java. Okay. So once you have Java, your server will be up and running. Okay. But now you are developing code and you are developing a lot of things and you want that code to be built and deployed on your AEM server. Okay, so that will be done through Maven. So Maven is a build and deploy tool. So you will build your code and you will deploy your code, whatever the code that you will write, and also a basic code base, a basic code structure that you need to get. See, in case if you are developing an all working on a altogether new website, so of course you would create a whole together new code base. So once you start developing a code base, you need to have certain folder and should be in a proper structured way. So of course, if you will start going creating it manually, it will take a lot of time. Okay. And even a lot of mistakes you will tend to do if you will do it. So Maven also helps you there to create a basic code base. The basic code structure it creates, and then of course building and deploying your code base is also done using Maven. Okay. So Maven is used for this purpose. Even if you do not have your Maven, then also at least your AEM server will be up and running, but you cannot build and deploy your code base. But that is all the backend. Like when you start working on the backend, then you will need Maven. But of course, once you have your Java and Maven, set it in your environment variable, okay, and have AEM. Once you have your Java, it should be at least of version 1.8 and above, 1.8 equal or above, and Maven version should be 3.6 or above. Like, okay, something, any version of this and above. So see, you have the DLL, but those ultimately get compiled. So see, you write some in .NET, you write some files. In what format are those files written? Dot, like if you write a file, my file or Tojo dot, whatever, what is the extension of those files? What used to be the extension of those files? Like in Java, we used, if I write any Java, if I write any file, then it's like Saurabh.java. Okay. And ultimately what happens is when we compile, so see, Maven is both build and deploy tools. So when we build all our Java code, then all those Java files get converted into .class files. That we can do in Java compiler, but we are using a lot of AEM code on top of Java. So there are lot. See, Java is used for creating classes and objects, but to make those Java classes compatible with the AEM code, you use a lot of annotations and a lot of AEM APIs. So for AEM APIs to work, you cannot build using Java compiler. No? You have to use third-party compilers or third-party APIs also to build, which are AEM API. And Maven, what Maven does is it helps you in building your code base, and take into consideration that okay, this is Java plus it. Plus on the top of that, it has all the Maven APIs. So build all that together by using the Maven dependencies. I will by using the AEM APIs dependencies. So all the API, all the Maven APIs that you need for building your code base, all that will be there as part of the Maven, and then only Maven would be able to build and deploy it. Okay, because it's not a simple Java class. You are using a lot of AEM annotation, a lot of AEM APIs. Basically, see what happens is in Java, your classes, your Java files get compiled and formed into .class files, and all those like you may have hundreds of Java files. So all those will get compiled into .class file, and those .class file will combine to form a jar. Okay. So that jar, so what happens is like third party, any third party, like I developed some tool, I developed an API, which is for building PDFs in Java. Okay. So I built it my own API. What I will do is I will write my all Java code, I will compile that and will form jar out of it and will make it publicly available. Maybe at a particular price if it's very helpful for others, or free of course. The others, legacy, in the legacy way, what they used to do is they download that jar manually from internet and place it in the class path or in the same hierarchy so that our classes can make the use of it. And then they start using it. And when ultimately they have to deploy the whole code base from the local hard disk to some server, then they take along with that, they also take that jar as well and deploy it on that server.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how the legacy way works. See what happens previously that you explicitly or manually download it and make it available in your class path. So Maven behind the scene, in Maven also we have configuration file. In that configuration file, we provide the dependency. We add any new dependency if you want. Like consider that I provide that PDF. Now we in Maven, what it does is here it has its configuration file. There we add the dependency. There we add that okay, this is the PDF, this is the jar that I wanted, and this is the version of that jar I wanted. Now, when I will do the code build, what Maven will do is it will search online for that jar and will download by itself from online to your local machine. Okay. So this was about the tools that you need to use for working in AEM.
Yeah.
Now, uh, now let's go back. Let's come to the versioning things.
Yeah.
So we used to have the CQ days, and then Adobe acquired it and named it as AEM, that is Adobe Experience Manager. And it released multiple versions. The main issue with this was that whenever they wanted to release a newer version, whenever they wanted to release a set of newer features, they have to release a newer version of AEM. But okay, now they find that okay, these are the newer features or new announcement that they have made. So they Adobe releases a newer version. So when they release a newer version, but it's not that okay. See that we have the jar and license, right? But now there would be a new jar for the newer version. So consider we were working on 6.4. Now we have to upgrade to 6.5. So 6.5 will have a newer jar. Okay, it's not that the same jar will work. It will have a altogether newer jar. The license file will remain the same because license file contains a unique that will remain the same, but jar will get changed. So
Yeah.
then Adobe will provide you with a newer jar with the 6.5 jar, and then you have to do a lot of infrastructure work because Adobe, what we have seen in past is that they deprecate a lot of APIs, plus they lot of make a lot of movement in their code base that to upgrade from one version to another, you have to make a lot of things compatible with your newer version. You have to make your code compatible. You have to make your code base, the APIs that you are using in the code base compatible. Because see, they keep on releasing the newer versions of the APIs, which are
Mm,
more flexible to work and which require less coding. So of
mm,
course, they provide the backup compatibility, but till certain version. Like of
mm,
course, if we talk about now when we are on Adobe as a cloud, then they would not be providing any, as of now, Adobe won't be providing any support for 6.0. If your website is currently running on 6.0 or maybe till 6.0, I'm not sure the exact version till which they're providing the support. But if you are on any other older versions, they they this should have been mentioned in their portal only somewhere. They clearly mentioned that they won't be providing the support for the older version because they have
oh,
released so much of newer APIs, newer ways of working. And if you're still on the older, then we won't be working because our engineers are working on the newer things, and for them to go back, it becomes very okay.
mm, mm,
So you as a client of Adobe, you tend to update to the newer version. One thing is because you have to use the newer features. See, if you have the newer features, then only you can bring some new things to the market, to the end users. Also, they won't Adobe don't provide any back like support for the older version. So anyhow, even Adobe also uh, like mm, like uh, pushes you to upgrade to newer versions, and also you also have to do it because you need to bring recent features into the market. So this upgradation process is very complex where the whole jar has to be updated. You need to make your code compatible. It's all infrastructure work. See, in
mm,
during this period, you are not bringing any new feature to the market. Any new announcement is not getting. It's all that all your developers are consumed in upgrading your AEM or working on this infrastructure.
mm, mm.
Okay. So that is why, okay. And also what some of the company does is during this upgrade, they divide their teams into two parts where some of the users, some of the devs are working on the newer part or the newer enhancement and some works on the upgradation. So that's how most of the company does. So just behind the scenes stories. Okay. So this was the major problem of Adobe that every time they bring newer features, all their clients have to update to the newer version, and for that a lot of time gets consumed. So that is why Adobe to help their clients solve this problem, they bring this Adobe as a cloud service. What Adobe as a cloud service is that here, like we have AWS. So what Adobe has done is it has acquired some space from AWS or from Azure. I know it's Azure. I'm not sure if it's AWS also. But from Azure, they have bought some space. On that space, they have done some customization for them and have already made all their things available. Like all these tools are already available, like your Java, your Maven, and your AEM, the latest thing of AEM, the latest version. And it's just one click that the away you are from setting up your newer system, your newer environment of freedom. So here, when you work on Adobe the cloud service, when you buy the license for it, you just log into your with your user credentials and You go and just click on one button. There you say whether you want to set up a developer environment or whether a production environment. And it will create the environment in just few minutes, just one click, and you do not have to set up anything. You do not have to buy space. You do not have to set up Java. You do not have to set up Maven, and you do not have to set up T. Everything is just one click away, and just click on that button, and the thing will, like your instance, will be up and running to the newer version. And also, once you have your instance up and running, maybe tomorrow, or they keep on releasing. Okay, so Adobe keep on releasing the newer versions, newer features, or the newer fixes. And for having those fixes, you just click on one button, that is update. All the infrastructure work is now gone. I
Oh
tell
my.
you, I have seen this, that the DevOps team are all together, like from AEM perspective only.
Yeah.
AEM admin job. Like previously, we used to have AEM developers job, AEM authors job, and
Hmm.
then AEM administrator job. So AEM administrator jobs are all now gone. It's because of Adobe as a cloud. So all the whole setup, even the upgrades, just click on one button, like simple your mobile OS. Just click
Hmm.
on one button, and the next time when you will do the deployment, your instance will be updated to the newer version. And
Hmm.
behind the scene, Adobe will be taking care that that all the updates, all the instances are set up. All those things will be taken care by them. Along with that, see here, when you have to deploy your code, you would have to use some like Jenkins. You
Hmm.
know what is Jenkins? You,
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
Jenkins, you create pipelines through which you deploy the code. See,
Hmm.
okay, see when you have AEM, I will tell you about why do we use Jenkins and all.
Hmm.
But all that Jenkins work is all also being taken care on the Adobe as a cloud only. Over here only, you have the provision to create pipeline through which you can deploy your code on different servers. Like if you create multiple dev servers and one prod server and
Hmm.
one UAT server, then
Hmm.
you create different pipelines there
Hmm.
on that portal only. Okay. On that same portal only, there you can create the different pipelines. And through that, you can say that, okay, this is my dev pipeline, this is my dev one, dev two, dev three, and this is my stage pipeline, this is my prod pipeline. Okay.
Oh.
And through that, you can deploy the code. And now even in the pipelines have been upgraded. So all the code building and deployment will happen on Adobe as a cloud service portal only through those pipelines. And you do not have, it's not that you just do your coding on
Hmm.
your local hard disk, on your
Hmm.
local laptop, and push your code into the Git repository. And that
Hmm.
Git repository is also within Adobe as a cloud service only. So you will push your code
Oh my
into the
God.
Adobe's Git. So
Hmm.
within that pipeline, you provide that, okay, this is my Git, this is the Adobe's Git repository, and this is the branch
Hmm.
where you have pushed the code, and it will further build your code. It will also check for sonar if you have any sonar issues.
Hmm.
It will fail over there, or if you can also explicitly say that, okay, do not fail, I will fix it later, please
Hmm.
continue, and then it will do the deployment.
Hmm.
Okay, and behind the scene, it's not only just doing this, but also looking after your server. In case if your server health is down, then it will replace it with a newer server. So all the horizontal vertical scaling is all taken care by Adobe
Hmm.
only. All the migration job is gone. Even a lot of things have been made easier. Now Adobe is saying, now
Hmm.
you only focus on development, focus on bringing newer features. We are there to take care of everything behind the scene.
Oh my God.
We have
Hmm.
developed our algorithm in such a way that even we are not working behind the scene, everything will be taken care. If any server is showing high CPU or high memory, it will automatically get removed and the new server will come into picture. If some more CPU has to be allocated to a server, it will be automatically allocated. So
Oh
all
my.
that thing will be done automatically.
So.
Also,
Hmm.
scaling vertical, let me just complete and then let's take question.
Yeah.
Vertical, horizontal scaling, all will be done by Adobe. Also, see, if you have your website running over here, now if you want to do a new deployment, like you have monthly releases. So you want to do a new deployment. So it's not that while doing the deployment, your server will be stopped and there will be a unavailability in during that time. It's not like that. What it follows a rolling deployment. So what happens during that time is you will have your newer server popped up where the new code will be deployed, and your old server will still be up and running at a time. There will be a time where a new server will be popping up where the new code will be deployed, and your old server will still be there. And with time, in some few seconds, the old server will will stop down, and it will be taken care by all the newer server which will have the newer. There will be no downtime, no unavailability. All will be up. There will be just a time frame where both the old and new code will be available, and there will be transformation that will be taking place.
Oh.
Okay, so it follows rolling deployment. We call it as rolling deployment. So see, original servers are not down. Original servers are up. New servers are also started. Also like will get started, and new code get deployed over there. And like if consider behind the scene, you have two old servers. So one old server, Adobe will remove the pointing from one old server and will point to the newer server. Then within a second, it will again we'll see that okay, all its new server are up. Then it will remove the pointing from the rest of the old server and will do it from the all the new server. So in a form of rolling, it will slowly remove the old server and bring the pointing to the newer server in a slow, in a rolling way. Because behind the scene, how Adobe as a cloud works, that is a very complex story. So behind the scene, it makes the use of containers. So if you have heard about Docker, it makes the use of Docker, and it makes the use of containers. So on one server, it has that code, and it will remove those containers and will bring into action the newer containers. So it follows the Dockers and the containers we are working. And also the important thing over here, see, till this point, we used to get the license. And Adobe used to charge on the base of our license. That okay, this is the license that I buy for a particular version. That then okay, Adobe says that okay, this is the cost for this. This is my cost for this license. Okay. Now, how will the cost be determined over here? The license cost, because here you do not have the license file. It's all an online portal on cloud, on Adobe's cloud, which behind the scene is using Azure Space. There it just provide you with the login credentials, and you can further create your servers and do all the things. But how will the licensing thing work? Or how will Adobe's charge? Will charge your pricing. So what it does is it charge on the basis of user fall on your sites. So the number of user counts that comes on your website, on the basis of that, Adobe starts charging you on going forward on Adobe as a cloud service. This is how they charge on Adobe as a cloud service. They will only provide you with the login credentials. Like okay, you consider you have your company, ABC company, so they will behind the scene maybe do something or do some configuration, but they will provide you with the login credentials. And you can use login using that. And further on, you will see in that portal that you have the provision to create AEM instances. When you will start creating that, it will ask you whether you want to create dev instance or a stage or prod instance. There you can select, and further you can. Everything behind the scene is all same, like 6.5 and Adobe as a cloud. So there, everything is same. It's just the infrastructure work that I've told you, it's all gone. But for now, you as a starting, like you have started working in AEM. So for you, it would be best to start working with 6.5, where you know how you set up the things, Java, Maven, and all. Because if you start working on AEM, you won't be knowing about this. So in future, if something happens and you have to do this, because see, on your local, you cannot use Adobe as a cloud service. For setting up the server on your local, you still have to use all these things. So what going forward on Adobe as a cloud service, they provide SDKs. So earlier we used to call them jars, and now on cloud for cloud they provide SDKs. Those are also jars only, and with the newer versions and all those which are compatible with the cloud one. Going forward on cloud, they provide you with the SDKs. Those are nothing but jars only. That also you do the same thing. You have that you have to set up jar, you have to set up Maven, and Then, of course, instead of AEM 6.5, you will set up SDK. SDK is also nothing but but similar to Adobe as a cloud service. Like if any newer feature has been brought after 6.5 to Adobe as a cloud, so that SDK will have. Otherwise, everything will be saved. Okay, so for you, you do not have to work on Adobe as a cloud. You should work on this only because at the end of the day, on your local system, on your local laptop, you would have to set up all these things, even if you are using Adobe as a cloud. There on Adobe as a cloud, you can set up your actual production servers, your lower environments, but for your local, you still have to use this. See, Adobe as a cloud you will use for your production environment or for lower environment where everyone can test and all the things. But on your local, when you have to do some development, when you have to do everything, you have to develop some new feature or you have to test some new feature, you have to fix something. Of course, here you have to do each and everything. Java, Maven, AEM, everything.